Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and this is tutorial number 95. Now, in the last tutorial, we left off where we were starting to work on our animations, so we're just going to continue with that. So let's open up Unity. And I'll also go ahead and open up Model Develop. And we've already got the turn and walk animations done, so the next one I want to add is my Straf animation. So I'm just going to copy this line here, and we'll crossfade in whatever animation you have for your strafing. And I believe mine's called side. I'm just going to quickly take a look. Get this to the regular size, look at my player, go to his animations, and it is called side. So when I start it up now, we'll get him to the ground and we'll do the side animations. Now they don't work too well in combination with other keys, and we'll get into a method called blending, but we'll do that a little bit later on. Right now we just want to get all these little basic animations in place so that they're being called when needed. It seems that the speed's okay, and his walk movement speed's okay, but we're going to want to be able to run at times too. So let's go ahead and do that next. So I'm going to go to my input manager, and I'm going to define a key for running. And for me, I'm just going to use the shift key. So I'm going to come down here and just look for the next one I'm not going to use. I'm not going to be using fire 2. So I'm just going to call this run. And we'll want to add a descriptive name. Key to use to make the player run. And for my positive button, I'm just going to say left shift. It didn't seem to save. And a negative button will be right shift. Now, actually, I'm not going to be using the negative in the sense that it's going to be running backwards or anything like that. I'm just using it so that I can define that the left and right shift buttons are going to be used. And it's not a mouse button, or the alternate isn't a mouse button. I'm going to expand this a little bit so we can see it better. And as far as these other properties, it really doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that it's key or mouse button. So I'm going to go ahead and save my project, just in case something happens. I don't have to come back and redefine that. And I'm going to go back into Model Develop. Now, when he presses down the shift key while he's walking, I'm going to want him to run forward or backwards. So right here where we have the move forward part, I'm just going to add a line under there, and I'm going to say if input dot get button down, and then the button we defined, for me it was run, then I'm going to perform my run animation. So I'll just cut and paste the walk one in there. Now I'm going to crossfade into run, and for my character I believe it was just called run, but we'll take a look just to make sure. Run. So was it capital? I believe it was lowercase. Just quickly check, it is lowercase. And we'll want to increase his speed. I'm going to make it a public variable for now, so we can tweak it in the properties if we want, in the inspector. And I'll make it a float. And I'm just going to say run speed. And I'll start it off, well, let's not call it run speed, let's call it run multiplier. And I'm going to start it off at about, let's say 2. So this basically is going to mean how fast the player runs compared to the walk speed. So my player can run twice as fast as he can walk. And I'll just go ahead and cut and paste that variable right into the end here. Great. So we'll also have to make sure that they are able to walk as well. So I'm just going to put an else block here. And I'll cut and paste the old walk code in there. So we'll just take a quick look at it, make sure it logically makes sense. We're going to say if they're holding down the get access to the move forward key, which is for me the W or the S key. And if they are, then it's going to come in here and it's going to say, if they're holding down one of the run keys, do the run. If they're not holding down one of the run keys, just do a walk. So let's see if that works. So I'll start up Unity. There's no errors. And when I push forward, I'm getting an error. Run is unknown. So I spelt something different, which is fine. I'll just take a look. Now, I did call it run. But we're looking for a key named run. And it's not a key, it's a button. So yeah, right here where we have get key down, it should have been get button. So we'll just fix that. It's get button, neither up or down, and that should fix it. Let's see. I'll clear the errors. We'll start it up. And now when I press forward, no error. So I can push forward, I can turn, I can move backwards. Now when I hold down the shift key, nothing happens. But when I hold down the forward and the shift key, this is the first time I've seen his run animation. But anyway, when you hold both down, he actually runs. And runs backwards. Now, I do actually have a backwards animation for this character, which is going to be starting with a B. Back. So I'll probably add that one in a little bit later on. Anyway, I'll add that one a little bit later on. Usually you can just have your walk animation, and usually it looks pretty good. But we'll work on that. Now, if you are creating your own models and doing all your own rigging and animating, an easy thing to get in the habit of now is calling all of your animations the same. So, for instance, if all your characters have multiple idle stances, make sure that your idle one is one where they're just standing around doing nothing. And maybe your next idle stance is when they're searching the horizon, or I think you understand. So make sure that your walk animation is always called the walk for all your models. We have multiple walks here. And if you're not creating your own models and animating them, you'll notice that all the different models that you get from people, they're going to have different names for the animations. So we're going to have to figure out a way around that, because I'm going to be using different animation or different model packages that come from different people. And while this person calls their idle animation with the one where they're just standing around idle 1, I know other people are just going to call it idle. Someone else might just call it standing around. So we'll have to implement a system where we can reference these animations regardless of what their name is. And one other thing that I noticed when I started building my level is, well, first off, our character doesn't float through or doesn't automatically start on the ground. That's a couple lines of code we'll add in the next tutorial. But the camera script, when we first right click, it doesn't start behind our character. That's because I believe we have it set to the world coordinates, and we want to reset that to be our character, whatever direction our character's facing. We want to make sure that it starts off facing behind them. So anyway, that's about it. That's the late update for this tutorial series, and hope everyone had a good, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.